So for our third card, we're going to create this snowman card, which has a hat that rolls. Now in this one here, you can see where the channel is because it's a completely different color. In this sample, we're going to put some white paper there, so it's just not a little bit, or not quite as noticeable, but it's a fun feature to have on a card. You could do it, say, with a snowball rolling or a tumbleweed or just anything that you want to spin or roll. So here's how we're going to do it. First thing we're going to do is we're going to spray those snowflakes on our background. Now in the sample, I used a gold color. Right now, I'm going to use a silver color, just so you can see what the difference looks like. Get those pieces of paper out of the way. Once again, making sure to completely shake, and you can always check and see if there's any mica still at the bottom. Perfect. And I like to spray fairly liberally because I want to be able to see those snowflakes in the background. I'm not gonna let it dry with that stencil on there. Some of them are gonna get messed up because some of this mica is gonna seep through. That is fine. If there was an area that really bothered me, I would strategically place something there, like put the snowman there or the hat there or whatnot. Let's get rid of this here just because I want to glue the pieces of my snowman together and I don't want something wet to ruin it. All right, that's good enough. Let's get rid of that paper towel. All right, so for the snowman, I am using this Snowman colorized die. Now it's a type of die that you die cut a bunch of different pieces and you layer them on top of each other. I have simplified it a little bit for this card just so that there's not quite as much layering. We're not going to do the broom. The scarf has, I think, 4 different pieces to it. We're only using 2, and you can see we get just a beautiful result that way anyway, so it's not like it's missing anything. The nose has an extra piece in the die set if you wanted to add a little extra dimension. I left that off. And then the holly, there is another piece so you can put, say, a darker color or a different color behind it, but it only shows in this, in the little veins in the center of the holly. So once again, I left that off just for simplicity's sake, just to make it a little bit simpler to put together. Now the one other thing that I have done ahead of time other than die cutting is I sprayed this with the pewter mica spray. I wanted it to have just a little bit of shine, just to give it a bit of a, sorry, I've got the hiccups apparently. Just to give it a bit of different texture from the other part of the white of the snowman. So the way we're going to glue this on, I'm just going to use my Distress Collage Medium. Once again, it dries completely matte and completely clear. So if anything happens to seep out, we are not going to see it once it's dry. Put that over there so it's a little bit more convenient. Now this piece here that I sprayed, it curved a little bit while it was drying. So I'm going to take an acrylic block and I'm just going to hold it down so that I don't have, so that I don't have to hold it and can continue on. So now I've got my green scarf. I'm going to put my red one on top of it. Let's leave this lid off so it's a little bit easier and you don't have to watch me take the lid off and on multiple times. Now these colorized dies, like I said, they're super easy to use. And the cool thing is when you die cut, they leave little indents for all the pieces so you know where everything goes. You don't have to guess at which piece goes where. So it's pretty cool. And it's a great way to use up a bunch of cardstock scraps. But if you, by chance, you didn't have scraps, you could die cut all of this out of white and then, sorry, I lost my train of thought there. You could die cut it all out of white and then use ink blending brushes or whatever to color your pieces. You could even color them so that you had some shading on them or whatever. So there's a lot of possibilities with them. And there's a whole bunch of different kinds to choose from. So there's not just a snowman. There's a couple different snowmans, and then there's also all sorts of different animals and stuff like that. Okay, wait a second. I got rid of my scarf die, but it has little berries for the hat. And I like how, like the scarf die, it's got the different pieces and it tells you right on the back of it what color on the package it is. Now it doesn't mean you have to do it that color. I could do my scarf at whatever color I wanted, but it is very helpful for people that are new to this and haven't done them before. It's nice for them to be able to kind of be led through it a little bit easier. Okay, one second. There it is. I was going to say I have a little black dot there for my just getting rid of the dies that I don't need. Little dots there for the snowman eyes and the little buttons on the front. All right, let's put the scarf down. And I am, once I have all these pieces glued down, I am going to put my acrylic block back on top for just a couple moments just to, okay, I put glue on there. It doesn't need glue on there because that's our piece that's going to move. So I'm just leaving that aside there so that can completely dry. Nice thing about that glue is it's not sticky when it's dry. One of the glues that I like to use regularly is this Tombow Mono Multi, but that one, when it dries not glued together with paper, it's actually kind of like a Post-it note type thing. All right, I've got 3 of the black dots that came out of my little die cut here. 2 of them are smaller and those are the eyes. I'm just making sure that I have the right ones on there. This is the other smaller one. Put that on there. And then we've got the bigger ones, and those are the little buttons on the front. An easiest way to put little bits and pieces down like this are some tweezers. There are tools kind of like this that don't have the piercing end on them, but they have like a bit of wax on the end that will help grab them as well. I just don't happen to have one of those tools. I just have my tweezers. Where did my other dot has disappeared? Oh, there it is. Not sure how it got over there, but there we go. There we go. So our snowman is put together, and because I need to wait for this to dry anyways, I'm going to flip this over. It's just going to be on my surface here and it'll be easy to clean off. I'm going to add the stickles and the different elements that I like to add to the front. It just adds a little bit of a different texture, and I just think it kind of helps finish it off a little bit more. So a little bit of red stickles on the berries, and then I'm going to put some glossy accents on the eyes and the little buttons there. Now, if by chance you get a bubble in there, you want to take a piercer or a pin or whatnot and pop it before it dries. It's super easy to clean up or to take that bubble out when it's wet. Once it dries, it's in there forever. So now I'm just going to put some stickles, which is a glitter glue, in the little snowflakes on the scarf. Just to, once again, add a little bit of sparkle, just add a little bit of a different element. It does take a little bit for it to dry. I think my stickles is almost empty. If I can see that there's some in there, if you can't put it, it's not coming out, just tap it on your desk. I have a glass mat under here, which is why it's making that noise, but that's going to get that stickles to the bottom of your bottle there. I typically also store it so that it's tipped down so that anything flows to the tip so that I don't have to, it's basically quicker to use that way. All right, so I'm going to let all of that dry completely, and we'll see you again once everything is dry, and we'll continue.